Yeah, she had a fire in her eyes. I'm not quite sure if it was passion or pain from having to put up with Mr. Bubba here. Friday Night Fights!
They usually say both.
Pleasure and pain. Fire and ice.
There you go.
Okay, so we got to hear about the person behind the scene.
I thought that was interesting, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's nice to know a little bit behind the persona. Who is the person?
But where are we going next?
Well, now we get to it. We find out more about her career. She is a one-time TBS champion. As you'll find out in this interview, she has her sights on more gold, more championship, and being the most dominant woman in AEW wrestling. Let's check it out.
Mr. Saturday Night here, Friday Night Fights. Here, Kris Statlander, AEW superstar, is blessing our show. Kris, what is going on with you?
Not much, but you said you're Mr. Saturday Night. Saturday Night. Every day is Saturday night. You really missed the mark right there.
Oh, we'll go back and.
Yeah.
Great thing is
Mr.
this isn't live.
Saturday night.
I'll go back and enter. I'll
No, you don't have to do it.
if I-
You don't have to do that.
Well, whatever you say, I'm not going to mess with you because I have seen you bring the violence. Like recently off of Full Gear, taking Mercedes Moné to the absolute limit. Let me ask you what all the fans want to know. When are you going to do it again? When's the rematch?
I mean, I don't know. She banged up my knee pretty bad in that match, which ultimately made me lose.
Yeah.
But hopefully sooner than later because I'm pissed that I lost. So
Do you think maybe that your full head wasn't into it? Maybe Stokely Hathaway had to do something in that. And while we're talking about that, what was with that?
Listen, he is many things. Was very smart at what he does and very convincing. So I don't blame him for me, letting myself get taken away by his little storytelling that he would do.
Well, we aren't going to say anything disparaging about Mr. Hathaway because we will have a cease and desist on us before we know it. But for some of the fans that maybe caught up, what brought to the break apart of you and him?
I've said it in some other interviews, but not everyone paid attention to everything.
Exactly.
So he and we just kind of, I feel like we had a mutual goal in ruining Willow's life.
And we'll get to her in a minute.
Yeah. And I feel like once that goal kind of was accomplished, we didn't really see a need for each other.
And he left you with the bill figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
And cost you a CMLL championship title opportunity.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, again, we're not saying anything disparaging against him. We do not want that cease and desist. No. He may have advised you on many things, but let me tell you, fashion was not one of them. You have had so many different looks that have been so many wonderful looks over the years. Let's talk about Zoolander and your love of it.
Yes.
Why your love of that movie?
Well, I mean, it's a classic. And who doesn't love the Zoolander movies? But also, Statlander being my last name.
Right.
Zoolander was just kind of right there. So it was kind of like, how could I not do it?
Okay. Well,
it was pretty obvious.
Well, fair enough. How cool is it that you're able to have that look and people like Ben Stiller are reacting to it on social media?
It feels like I've done justice to it. And that's all I can say.
Perfect.
If it was bad and embarrassing, people would not have acknowledged it.
So that's right. Well, we talked about Stokely just a minute ago. Maybe you need a manager, maybe the form of Boots, and you may be asking who Boots is. We take an opportunity to explain a very important part of your life.
Yes. My bearded dragon, my lizard, my child, Boots. Sometimes known as Little Booty, Boo. Overall, 100% number one amazing pet.
Number one pet, number one fan?
Yes.
How often does Boots go on the road with you?
Not often. I don't think you can really fly with a lizard. But anytime we have a local show, Boots is there.
Boots is there in your corner.
Exactly.
Okay, now we referenced Willow. You guys have taken each other to the limit as well.
Yeah.
Thumbtacks, chains, which I gotta say, back to the footage, split leg into thumbtacks.
Not the highlight of my career.
How does it feel the next morning after a match like that?
Flying home could have gone better, but there's a lot of things in that match that hurt everywhere. So there wasn't really like one spot I was like, oh, this my butt hurts. It was everything.
Everything
was painful.
Hurts. Well, now that you have got that out of your system, do you see you guys rekindling the friendship that you once had?
I mean, I was the one that wronged her, and I feel like I'm at a place now where I can admit that. And I don't think it's up to me.
Right here, you're witnessing.
Yes, I don't think it's up to me to determine that. But
okay.
I may consider extending an olive branch now that I'm at a place where I can acknowledge that I kind of lost my marbles a little bit.
It happens. Well, now while we're talking about righting wrongs, let's talk about the best friends. Is that something with that on potential? Will we see Kris Statlander join Orange Cassidy? Orange clearly has more. He's bitten off more than he can handle with the Death Rider. Are you going to join in on that fight? Imagine a fight between yourself, Marina Shafir.
Mm-hmm.
The fans are clamoring for that. What's your comments on that?
I mean, again, I was the one that kind of did the wrong in that situation, and I can acknowledge that. It's another situation where I don't know if it's up to me. And I feel like all the repercussions of my actions are starting to come back on me, where I don't really have anyone in my corner at this point. Like going into Full Gear with Mercedes, I was alone. I didn't have anybody there for me. And when I was getting attacked for weeks on end, I didn't have anyone out there for me. And I deserved that. But I feel like I do miss best friends. I miss having friends, and I would like to reconsider my action.
Okay. So the only way to find out is continue to watch AEW. Now, I'm a girl dad.
Okay.
So this is pretty cool.
All right.
Your moniker, More Than a Woman.
Yes.
What does it mean to you to be able to come out here and empower, full disclosure, daughter's favorite wrestler, you and Willow. I waited we got past the Willow question to mention her.
Fair.
She loves you, loves everything you do, thinks you're the strongest, biggest person ever, and we love it.
I try to be.
What does that mean that you get to come out here and be such a great role model to a generation coming up?
It's interesting because I never really saw myself in that role model position. I think calling myself More Than a Woman, it's like the manifestation thing where it's like, if you say something enough, it starts to become true. And I feel like it's more of a reminder to myself to never let what anyone tells me about me, never let any sort of negative thing, never let that be true. Let my positive thoughts and everything that I want to be who I am. And it's very interesting, like hearing about how there's, like, I still see myself as a wrestler, as someone who's new, and I've done nothing. And then the fact that there's new wrestlers coming in and they're like, I watched you, you're one of my favorites. And I'm like, who am I? Like it's one of those things that it takes a very long time for it to click. It's the kind of national, international, global impact that you can have on the world when you yourself are still just like trying to be the best version of yourself every single day. So it's very humbling to know that something that that me just trying to be my best every day inspires people to be their best every day.
Well, that's great. Again, here AEW superstar Kris Statlander and Mr. Saturday Night. Did I nail it?
You got it this time.
All right, Friday Night Fights.